All right, guys. Morning. Good morning. It is Friday, the end of the week. We have some economic data. I think we got flash manufacturing and services PMI data today. We have Michigan consumer sentiment data going live. We have some economic data. I think. Hopefully, guys. Hopefully, y'all are all staying safe in this weather right now. Weather is not good. Markets are a little quiet today, to be honest. It's Friday. We don't have as much going on. We had the big news today, really, like the biggest news we have today. If you look underneath me right here, there's two things. Intel gapping down pretty significantly on its earnings report. It's down like 13% or so, maybe more than that now, on its earnings report. This is the gap down for Nvidia, or not, for Intel. And again, Intel is specifically down after issuing weak guidance. It beat last quarter, but it issued weak guidance is what happened. Capacity constraints, data center CPU commentary, it all scared the market, and Intel is down to $47 a share right now, ultimately dragging a lot of stocks down with it. Just in terms of sentiment, Nvidia is actually very green this morning though, so we did see Nvidia rip up here. Look at Nvidia again. Here's Intel. Nvidia actually pretty decently green despite other stuff. And basically what happened is that with Nvidia, they had a GPU deal that sent them ripping up after hours. So they are up after we had news earlier that said Nvidia chips are fetching record premiums on China's black market. And again, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang plans to visit China to meet with potential chip buyers. So China chip boost is essentially what's dragging Nvidia up. You can see Nvidia at 187s right now. Again, Intel had earnings yesterday where they kind of disappointed on guidance and they are down significantly. Nvidia is up. Market doesn't really know where to go. If we look at the SPY and Q, SPY is down, Q is down slightly. Both of these are slightly red on the day. We also have silver pushing up here. So if you look at silver futures, silver's really close to $100. It hit 99.39s yesterday. It's at 98.70s, but it got really close to $100 a share, or $100 an ounce, I should say. And yeah. And so again, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang looks to have persuaded the US and Chinese governments to permit microchip sales overseas in China. They've historically had an on and off relationship, and it appears to be back on again after a report that the government in China has given the approval to big companies, including Alibaba, to buy US semiconductor maker chips. Regulators have recently granted, in principle, approval for Alibaba, Tencent, ByteDance, and more to move to their next stage of preparations for the purchases of Nvidia's H200 chips, citing people described as familiar with the matter. And so Nvidia up around 2% in pre-market after this news. And yeah, those are the biggest stories today in markets Nvidia related. Bitcoin still sitting at 89,000, silver up to over 99s in some points. It's back down to 98s now, but it was over 99s. Intel's gap down, and Nvidia China chip approval. So that's what's going on. Nvidia sitting just under 188s now. Yeah, we have I gotta figure out how to be good. Handheld raise. Yeah, so we did have the Japanese rate decision. That's easing some of the yen carry worries. They came out, I think they paused rates, but they didn't raise them, and they were a little bit more dovish than expected there. So that is making That's making people more optimistic there as well. Look at Japanese yields here this morning. Here's the 10-year. After last night, they didn't really spike. That was already kind of baked in, but leading into this decision, Japanese bond yields did decrease a significant amount. So you can see the Japanese bond yields falling down on the 10-year treasuries. They did decrease into this. And again, overall, it was a little bit more calm of a meeting than a lot of people expected, although we didn't get some crazy moves. Yeah, AMD, Nvidia, all up on Simple. Give this news about China chips. What this is. Yeah, silver getting very close to $100. I might try trading silver today. I think in one of my accounts I could probably take a withdrawal. I should be able to. And I think I am going to request payouts in both of these accounts. Here. Oh, well, I'll mess with this later. Palladium. Red is over 12. Yeah, Alphabet's completely flat on the day. Again, Nvidia, you can see on this bottom chart underneath me, it's popping up a little bit. And again, the NASDAQ continues to bounce at 25,600. So I really want to see if that 25,600 level stays. So I really do want to see if that 25,600 level sits and stays. Yeah, we did a poll. We'll do another one. When does... Where's gold at? I know silver is very close to $100 an ounce. Gold sitting just under $5,000 an ounce. So we'll do a question. When does gold break 5K? Hey. Next week. February. March. Plus, gonna be the options. Vote on that poll. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to see what people think about that. What do you think about IGV weakness compared to SOX? SOX is just what, a microchip ETF, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's been flying the last few months. Yeah, we'll vote for today. Today's an option. It's 56% likely as of now with the votes we have so far. Yeah, so Jim Cramer said, listen, Capital One quote unquote missed the quarter, but in reality the company didn't even care because it's building this stack to take on Amex with this buy of Brex with a fabulous client list for 5.5 in cash and stock. Just worth it to give context regarding Capital One. We also had SLB come out with earnings this morning. Again, spot platinum hit record high of $2,700 an ounce. Spot platinum. We also had First Citizens come out with some numbers here this morning. Yeah, so again, China basically told big tech firms that they can prep Nvidia H200 orders as of today. Also, again, we did have the Japanese bond decision. Japanese bond market got hot as this week. Long-term JGB yields spiked and the Bank of Japan just held rates steady while hinting it will tolerate higher yields, which briefly pressured global bonds and U.S. stocks, but is now kind of digested. They kept their policy rate at 0.75%, did not reimpose a hard cap on government bond yields, even after a big sell-off that pushed the 40-year JGB over 4% for the first time ever, and the 10-year above 2.3%. The 10-year is currently sitting at 2.259%, so it did fall back under 2.3%, but officials are discussing tweaking their bond purchasing taper, but ultimately signaled a high bar for intervention, essentially accepting a move towards more normal yields while telling the government to fix the fiscal worries. Yeah. Look, I'm looking at this 25,600 level in the NASDAQ. It looks interesting. AVGO broke support. Yeah, it's down to 319. And honestly, next week's a very busy week, man. We got the Fed meeting next week. Jobless claims, PPI inflation data, durable goods, consumer confidence data. The week after that, I think it's busy, if I remember correctly. Let me make sure. I have to go check. The week after that is going to be the week of the first week of February. Got ISM manufacturing data Monday that week, February. We got the ADP data for January on that week. Thursday we got jobless claims, challenger job cuts. And Friday we got payrolls and unemployment data. I wonder why the prelim, so we got payrolls that week on Friday. With the jobs report. Yeah, a lot of big earnings next week are crazy. Quantum stocks have kind of quieted down. Forgetty. I mean, they're basically like quantum stocks really have been flat since November. Like a lot of quantum stocks, if I pull this up here, right? Like here's Rigetti. Quantum stocks have mostly been flat. Here is what is November 13th. Quantum has done this since November 13th. The quantum stocks have not done anything since November. Stopped moving, basically. And this is after they had a fairly large pullback. If I put like a weekly chart up here, you know, they had a big rip up, and they've had a couple big moves up. Like in 2024, they had a big move up. They pulled back and they sat there for a second, just kind of like they're doing now. And then they had another huge spike up, and now they're pulling back some, and they've sat here for a second. And so I honestly, even with this pullback, I don't have that much fear regarding quantum. I think this is something that big companies are working on kind of in the background. You know, I think it's too risky not to try to get involved with it. And so I think we're going to see growth there because of that. But I think we could also pull back some, I'm not sure. But again, quantum stocks have mostly sat still for months now after a fairly large pullback. And so the question, I think, and for most people here, and you guys can answer this in the chat, what do you guys think? Is it time to buy quantum? You know, quantum stocks pushed up. Rigetti went up to 60, now back to 25. You know, the next leg up would be in this pattern would be an upward move. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. You never freaking know. We could crash down. It's all sector related, to be honest. But I think there's a chance it makes another rebound back up. What do you guys think? Is it time to buy quantum? Let me know. We can take a look at other quantum like QBTS or something like that. It's very similar thing. Again, big move mid last year, pull back at the end. You know, this one's had even a small bounce. So percentage wise, some of these are doing better than others, but most of them in the midst of a fairly large pullback. What's another quantum? We got Rigetti, we got QBTS, QUBT. That one, yeah, that's one. QBT. Same thing, fairly large rip last year, big pullback, another rip, another pullback. We're sitting stagnant since October basically now for all quantum stocks. And maybe there's, you know, again, it depends on how long you're planning on holding it. If quantum is that next big thing, which is not 100%, but there's a good chance it is. If it is that next big thing, and we're talking long term, like decades, you're probably going to be okay. But nothing's ever risk free, so y'all just be careful. Yeah, IO and Q. Yeah, there's probably larger cap stocks that might be safer for quantum, like the big name companies that are getting involved with it. That's probably true. The percentage gains are going to be smaller though because of that, if that makes sense. So, you know, trade at your own risk, not an investment professional, not liable if you lose. We are starting breaking under 25.6s here. Netflix, I don't know. It's one of those stocks that I'm in right now. And I think I made some back the last few days, but who knows what this thing's gonna do. I don't mind just sitting in it. Netflix plays a divvy, right, too. Oh, it doesn't pay a divvy. Intel had earnings and disappointed on guidance. It beat EPS and revenue, but it disappointed on guidance for Intel. So worries about guidance numbers has been the story of most of the tech earnings this year. So again, next week we do have big tech earnings. Again, guidance is what has struggled companies right now. Also, the president is tweeting. I'm sure natural gas is probably pushing up to get today. Yeah, $5, a little bit lower than it was yesterday. But the president's tweeting. He said, record cold wave expected to hit 40 states. Rarely seen anything like it before. Could the environmental people explain? He also said, quote, what a great trip in Davos it was. So many things accomplished, including framework deal with NATO and Greenland, Board of Peace. Wow. So he's tweeting right now. And yeah, again, y'all be safe this weekend. We do have cold coming this weekend. I don't think it hits today. Yeah, everybody just be careful. Yeah, it's supposed to get really, really cold this weekend. Yeah, it's supposed to even snow in Texas and Louisiana. Maybe ice. At the very least, it's gonna ice, I think. So, I'll be careful. Again, big story of the day in markets. So you can take a look at yields, actual U.S. Treasury yields. They're sitting basically where they were yesterday. They're about 4.23%. So they're sitting roughly where they were yesterday. Haven't really changed much. Down slightly. So lower interest rate sentiment. If we get a bounce up to 600, I might short this actually. But yields are slightly down, but pretty much flat on the day. It's now only about a 2.8% likely the Fed cuts interest rates this month. Only about 2.8% likely. If you guys remember, I was almost going to take a trade on odds that we don't cut rates, or odds that we cut rates this month. And I was going to vote against it, basically saying we weren't going to cut rates. It looks like I maybe should have, but hindsight's 2020. Honestly, my argument was the same. It's unlikely we cut rates this month. Maybe next time I'll do that. Isn't the next report the dot plot? No, I guess not. I guess they released one in December. I didn't know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so 95, 98% likely we hold rates. We will see, guys. We will see. Again, today, 40% of people think gold breaks 5,000 today. Gold back up. Bitcoin again under 89s now. One at 88.9s. So under. Nvidia again had good news from China, basically, where they're going to approve, most likely approve purchases of Nvidia H200 chips there. So Intel's gapping up a little bit, not as much as I would think, but we've had back and forth action on this relationship here. Like, they've come out basically saying, oh, we're going to be able to sell them. Oh, never mind, we're going to restrict them. Export restrictions overseas in China. Oh, we're going to be able to sell them again. Oh, they're going to restrict big companies from buying them. So we've heard contradictory news on both sides of this. And so it's something that you want to understand. That's probably why the move isn't that big, is because people are expecting maybe some backtracking here. And again, we'll see. Do you think they'll backtrack this? Look, there's the move up to 25,600s here. Let's see if I can buy this or short this. Gotta hurry. Short one here. We add a little bit to it. Go. We got a decent move down fast enough here, but it's too small of a move yet. I'm gonna hold this. All right. There we go. I'm gonna take that. Oh, I cut both. I didn't mean to cut both. I just wanted to cut one, but that's all right. I guess I'll lock in the profit. Oh well. Should have held, but all right. In Michigan, every school is closed. My son just got called off work. He locates utilities. It's cold, but no biggie here. Yeah, I've spent some time in Michigan. Michigan's nice. I've been there during the winter as well. It's rough. All right, so look, we're moving up to retest this here. I don't know if I want to short this as well. Let's see. Wondered if I should sell some gold. I don't know, man. I mean, gold's around $5,000 an ounce, right? So I think gold might want to break it first, but who knows? We did a poll earlier. 42% think gold breaks 5,000 today. 33% thinks next week. 14% thinks February. 11% thinks March plus. Silver also elevated, at least yesterday it was. Or early this morning, I should say. Yeah, it was yesterday. 99.39. So silver's getting very close to $100 an ounce for silver as well. No, I just trade the actual NQ Fisher. SanDisk. I mean, it's up a lot. It just depends on what you think it's gonna do in the future. I'm not sure. Any specific news? I don't know, Harry. Is there? I don't know. We're up to 99.12s here. Silver up to 99 plus now. Let's see if it tries to break $100 an ounce. Well, I think supply, people are, anytime there's a big move in anything, people tend to flood into stuff, right? And I think that's what you see going on now with silver. That's the supply. The problem that they're having is, so I think at least some of it's real. Now, is all of it real? I don't know. A different question. Brazil president tells Chinese president that Brazil will exempt short-term visas to China. Also, U.S. prescriptions for Novo's Wegovy pill were 18,410 for the week ending in January 16th, according to IQVIA. Again, we do have manufacturing and I think services PMI today as well. But again, I don't know how much that's going to move markets. Bank of Japan Governor Ueda says April price behavior is a factor to more rate hike. The impact of any sales tax abolition would be hard to gauge. Yeah, we're still here at 600. We made a little bit of money on that last trade. I guess the next trade I'm going to look for is 611s. Maybe I'll short that. Not an investment professional, guys. Do not copy me. Not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Don't copy me, guys. Not an investment professional. But yeah, the Bank of Japan did maintain short-term interest rate at 0.75%, which was expected. It was an 8-1 vote. Takaka voted for 25 hike. Bank of Japan Outlook report revised its 25 and 26 GDP forecast higher, shifted its 27 forecast lower. 26 inflation was revised higher to 1.9% as well here. Look at this pop. Let's see if we can short this. A short right here. Maybe add a little bit to this too if I can. Got a little cushion now. Let's see if we can hold this cushion. I'm going to add a little bit up to it. I want to wait for the 200 EMA, but there we go. Nice. I'm going to take half of that off immediately right there, just if I can. A piece off right there. Yeah, AMD's breaking out. AMD's just sympathy with microchips. We're seeing like microchip strength in some stocks. Intel is down though, so competition dynamics maybe with Intel and AMD as well as Nvidia, but Nvidia's up on H200 chips potentially being approved in China. The sale of H200 chips being approved for some companies there. What that is. It looks like it was a good thing I took profit there. Now we're kind of flat. I'll still add to this, I think, here if I can get some movement here. I like the 200 exponential. We're in 4 again. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build up a smaller cushion first. It is Friday though, so maybe we're gonna have some stagnant price action today. Let's see. Yeah, the only thing we really have coming out today is yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this now. We're down a little bit, but it's a bigger move than I expected just now. Yeah, today we have, what do we have? We have average hourly earnings at 8:30. Or no, I'm sorry, that's next couple weeks from now. Today is the 23rd. Yeah, I mean, today we got manufacturing and services flash PMI for January in Michigan. Inflation expectations and consumer sentiment data at 10 a.m. today. That's basically it. Nothing else coming out. Big spike though in markets. Let's see what this was for from. Again, Jensen Huang's going to head to China and bid to reopen market for Nvidia chips, and we also heard news that maybe H200 chips are going to get approved there. So on anything that moves stuff. Again, Ledger planning a $4 billion IPO on the New York Stock Exchange, and Bernstein raises the price target of Johnson & Johnson to 225. Stifel raises the price target of Alphabet to 346 from 333. Yeah, I saw the AI news coming out of China. Basically, the AI news that we're seeing here is that Nvidia CEO looks to have persuaded U.S. and Chinese governments to permit microchip sales overseas. The on and off relationship between them appears to be back on again. A report came out that China's government has potentially given the approval to big companies, including Alibaba, to buy U.S. semiconductor chips from Nvidia, specifically the H200 chip. Regulators have recently potentially granted in-principle approval for Alibaba, Tencent, ByteDance, and more to move to the next stage in preparations for purchases of those H200 chips from Nvidia. It's one of the reasons Nvidia is gapping up so here. Look at Bitcoin pop too. Bitcoin at 89.14s right now. It's not really Nvidia driving this move though. Wait, this is a 15-minute chart. A 1-minute chart looks a little bit clean. But AMD still popping higher here. Alphabet up. Meta's down on the day. Microsoft flat. ESM is up with sympathy. So, yeah, Intel again gapping down on bad guidance numbers. Even though BDPS and revenue, Intel's down pretty significantly. on bad guidance, lower guidance than what was really desired for the company of Intel. So yeah, silver has a chance to break 100. So does gold. I mean, gold is very close to 5,000. What the poll has to do with it. Gold's technically green on the day right now as well. Here's silver. Silver's up there at 99.20s right now. So silver is actually pushing higher and higher. Silver might make a test for $100 today. It's what I'm the most interested in potentially buying. It just depends on, you know, I'm already in silver already, and so my portfolio in that regard is doing pretty good. But I might day trade it as well today on a different, like maybe in futures, if we get some reasonable pullbacks heading into that $100 level. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't know what it's gonna do. Not an investment professional, guys. I understand all this stuff on screen. I don't guarantee anything. Don't copy me. You know, all the good stuff here. Nothing here is investment advice. We are not investment professionals. Do not copy us. But with that said, I might try to buy silver if we pull back. What's up, Chef? There's a hack. What's up, Sam? Yeah, Intel I haven't been as interested in buying it. It's too volatile, big ranged, and crazy percentage moves here for Intel. I'm just not interested. I haven't been as interested in buying it. Yeah, we'll see what silver does. We have some foreign news coming out this morning. And again, we got Michigan flash data today. Next week is honestly a crazy week as well, guys. So next week we got stuff going on. Today's Friday. We had Ericsson, SLB, Booz Allen, Webster Financial, First Citizens Bank earnings. Everything BDPS and revenue except for BAH, Booz Allen. They missed revenue, but BDPS. Monday next week, we got some stuff, but the real action honestly starts. What is it? Today? Next week, Wednesday, you know, we have some small earnings, or we have some earnings coming out in the morning prior to Wednesday, but Wednesday evening, afternoon, we have Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla earnings all same day after the Fed decision. So the volatility on Wednesday could be big. A lot of companies have reported earnings this season so far, tech earnings specifically like Intel. And the story of this earnings season so far is that these companies are beating EPS and revenue. But because they're big tech right now, people have really high expectations for guidance and CapEx, and they're disappointing in guidance and CapEx, right? And so that is making a lot of these tech companies, this specific earnings season, fall. Like, that's what's going on, is a lot of these tech companies are posting beats in EPS and revenue, but their guidance isn't up to par with what the market wants, and their CapEx is low in some instances, and so we are seeing gap downs like Intel today, bad guidance numbers, gap downs in some of these tech names, microchip names, and I'm curious to see if that trend continues. And yeah, we'll see. Gold, silver, yeah, all been doing kind of crazy stuff. We'll see if they continue to hold. It is Friday though, guys, so the news is a little bit lighter today. We do have manufacturing. What's weird, usually, I mean, we do have manufacturing and services flash data today. Yesterday, we did have PCE inflation that was basically flat from everything. 0.2%, 2.8% on the year for core PCE index. I think for October, we showed 2.7%, but the October data is always going to have a question mark around it. Yeah, almost sneezed. Ugh. There's the sneeze. You hate it when one goes away. Like when you think you gotta sneeze and then it just goes away. You don't love to see it. That one came back though, so. Funny thing is to see some long trades. I do have some moments. Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah. Again, silver, 99.30s right now for silver. Bitcoin back up too, up to 89.2s. Gold probably elevated as well, I'm guessing, right? With all this, yeah, gold back to green on the day. Very close to $5,000 an ounce. Gold got really, really close here. It got up to 49.70s, $30 away. $5,000 an ounce for gold is literally right here. So we are close to that on gold today. There's a big chance we might hit it today. Again, vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think there. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so Nvidia up 1.7%. China informed the biggest tech firms that they can prep orders for H200 chips. Intel down 13%. Softer than expected quarter guidance, citing supply constraints and productivity efficiency challenges despite a quarterly earnings beat. DSX up 2% after a profit beat. Amazon was flat, planned second round of corporate job cuts next week, targeting 30,000 roles in total. Disney is down 0.4%. They expect the announcement of their next CEO in early 2026. They said it, TI said it plans to end drug rebates. I'm pretty green in my Disney position in that too. I'm green on the day in stocks as well. I mean, I think silver's helping though. See if silver and gold can keep pushing here. What time will the rug pull happen? Yeah, getting silver, guys. Let's take a look. Up to 99.30. It's very close to $100 an ounce. Very close. Market news is just light today. We don't have any big economic news at 8:30 either. But again, Amazon reportedly going to announce second wave of job cuts. They slashed 14,000 positions in October. Intel down after bad guidance. TT said late yesterday that they finalized TikTok, a long-awaited deal that will keep the popular video sharing app to keep operations in the U.S. They said a joint venture has been established for U.S. operations, complying with an executive order. In September, Meta appointed Dina Powell McCormick as president and vice chairman to oversee AI infrastructure efforts. Apple is redesigning Siri into a fully fledged AI chatbot, launching late 26 with ChatGPT-like capabilities. ARM launched new physical AI division focused on robotics and autonomous vehicles in partnership with SoftBank and Broadcom. Yeah, again, Bank of Japan held rates steady. Yeah, this silver move is crazy. Gold move is crazy too. Silver up to 99.30s here. I don't know what to do with the market either. I don't know whether I should short this and look for a range continuation or to long this if we start to rebound back up to like 650. I'll probably just stay flat here right now in markets. I don't want to push too heavy here, looking to do too crazy. No, I day traded a couple times this morning in futures and then ended up cutting it. I'm down small on the day so far. So market's kind of sideways, and I'm curious to see what happens. Again, we had good Nvidia news. Intel news was bad. Markets, I believe, are flat on the day mostly here. SPY is slightly red on the day, so the S&P slightly red. The nasdaq or the QQQ is slightly red as well, but they're not incredibly red. They're not super deep or anything. They just, most of them are slightly under it. Like the nasdaq, the QQQ sitting at 620, 620.70s is previous close, so we're pretty close away from that. Or we're pretty close from that. Yeah, gold, silver. Gold's probably gonna break 5,000 sometime, maybe today. I hope so. Silver should break $100 sometime soon. You never know for sure, but again, $100 on silver is literally right here. So when you look at silver, silver is probably one of those milestone levels. Silver got up to this level earlier as well, so if we do have any resistance, maybe that's going to be it. Or maybe we unlock some volatility once we get over that specific level. But you can see how close to $100 we are. This is 100 right here. So we're basically right there. We're right underneath that now for silver. So, and I think that's a big psychological level. I think big numbers like this, I said this earlier before we made these pushes towards it, but I said anytime we get close to a big psychological level like that, it becomes more like a magnet attracting people to. That makes sense, right? So we don't always break and run, but sometimes we tap it and come back down. And so I've been saying that maybe if I can get a dip in silver, we can find some reason to get into a trade there. But we also have to be careful just because silver's tough. I'm already in silver longer term, but short term day trading, silver futures especially. I would have bought this dip. I was really considering buying this pullback just now, but it didn't stay down there long enough here. PCE was yesterday at 10. PCE came out yesterday. Yeah, so PCE dropped yesterday. GDP and PCE dropped. I have this here. Hold on, guys. All right, here. I gotta figure out. I'm gonna put this disclaimer up on the screen for a second. I'm opening something on my computer, and I don't want it to flash. Understand all this stuff on screen, guys. Not an investment professional. Yeah, I don't want it to. W9. I'm submitting another payment. Maybe I need one for next year. Yes. Download it again. All right, I'm gonna get this out the way. Looking at our poll, 40% think silver. Look at silver, man. I should have bought that dip. I was really interested in buying it, but man, might be too late. Silver's still pushing up. It looks like it might break $100 in the next few minutes if it continues this trend upward for silver, because it's continuing to push here. Still pushing up. Silver's flying. Again, here's Bitcoin. Goes. Nvidia up there. The graph. Thunder, Chris, Odd. Intel and Netflix both beat earnings and gap down. Yeah, again, what we're seeing, the trend here heading into next week's big earnings report. We got a lot of earnings next week. The trend that we are currently seeing here is that companies in tech have beat EPS and revenue and then disappointed on guidance and CapEx. And so what we're seeing for big tech names this earnings season specifically is we're seeing companies do well in terms of EPS and revenue. But again, because they're tech, sometimes they're microchip related. Sometimes, you know, there's optimism and hype. Markets want better than just beat EPS and revenue. They want to beat and raise. And so what that means is they want to beat EPS and revenue, and then they want to raise their guidance. And the guidance numbers, specifically with both tech companies that we've seen so far, Intel, Netflix, and more, the guidance numbers that we've seen have disappointed markets, and that is why Netflix gapped down. That is why Intel gapped down. And I think that's the story that you probably want to pay attention to heading into next week is the guidance numbers here. You know, so I think companies need a beat and raise to have a chance to do well this earnings season. We'll see. We'll see. Again, silver's still pushing up at 99.70 right now. Again, 99.70. These are all-time highs for silver. So silver's breaking highs as we speak right now. 99.70. I'm going to put this up. This middle chart right here. This is silver. And it's pushing here. I wanted to buy the dip. Maybe I should have earlier. I'm already in silver, so this is good for me regardless. But yeah. Silver looks like it's going to break $100 an ounce very soon. Very soon. It's right there. You know what? I mean, I'm already in silver long term. I'm going to buy it, even though it's risky. But I'm going to buy it. Maybe I'll add to it if we pull back some. But you guys can't see this here. Hold on. Maybe a greedy buy, but you know what? I think it wants $100 an ounce. I think markets are going to push it there too. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't copy me. Not an investment. Question is, where do we dip leading into this? There we go. I'll add to this if we get deep enough in the green too. All right, we're going to add a little bit into this now. There we go. 4. We can hold here. I think it was $100 an ounce. Very close. Add one more into the here and just. All right, guys. Silver very close to $100 an ounce. All right, we're back to flat. Silver pushing back up more. Here we go. Make another run back up. Got so close to $100 an ounce. It didn't quite break it though, so I do want to just give this a second. Go back up to mostly flat. Wait a second. Put up the NASDAQ here so you can see maybe how the NASDAQ is doing again. Nvidia had some news also here. See if the run up happens. I think it's gotten close enough to where people are now paying attention to silver, potentially breaking $100 an ounce. Breaking all-time highs already here. All right, we're back up to basically flat again. I'm gonna unload just a little bit of this, just protection. Maybe add back if I need to. Let me know in chat right now, when does silver break $100 an ounce? Yeah, it's so close to 100. I want to give it a second too, but I don't want to get greedy here. Maybe I should have waited for a big pullback. I was worried if I waited too long, I'd get stuck, but 7 minutes from now, 5 minutes. I hope you're right. We'll see. We're getting some support every time we dip down to like 99.5s is what this is right here. I'm hoping we continue to hold over 99.5s right there, but yeah, maybe at the opening bell you can make an argument for it. Still kind of flat. There we go. There we go. Back to green on the trade. Let's see if we get over it. There we go. We are now green. Get some data. Yeah, we don't really have any economic data today. We got flash manufacturing and services PMI at 945. PCE came out yesterday at 10. Yeah, I mean, once we got up back to my entry, we lowered size. Now we just have 3 micros of silver. I'm still pretty optimistic it's going to make a move, though, but we'll give it time. Yeah. We're back to basically flat. U.S. Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation. Department of Justice. EU. Psychology of people. Yeah, I mean, silver and gold, precious metals have done really well long term. Short term, we never know. All right, we're back up to flat. At 99.50 level has been holding. Now we're back green on the trade. There we go. Nicely green. Make the move. We're up over my entry now, which is good. If we get some strength here. I liquidated some more break even just because it's struggling. And I can always add back if we start to go in my favor, pushing up towards 100. I'd rather have a small loss than a big loss if it doesn't go my way. I still think we got a big chance, though, and I think up here it looks really decent. It's just not moving. I think everybody's kind of piling in. There we go. That's better. All right, let's go. $100 an ounce is right here, guys. 100. There we go. So close. See it on silver. Yeah, I'm like Gollum with silver right now. There we go. I just don't want it to be choppy. I'm gonna start reducing size if it pulls back here, and then maybe we'll add it back. I'm gonna wait. Like, I'm worried. Hey, buddy. Hey, man. All right. Here, hold on. All right, guys. So, silver did push back higher here. Does it hold? Music is better today? Well, yeah, this is like 90s sitcom music, but that's all right. We did jump in a different account here. We're trading 2 different accounts this morning. Here's the other trade we're in. We're up nicely in this one. I want to give it a chance, though. So, like, I keep getting in and out. There we go. Let's see if it pushes higher. All right, that's better. I'm going to take a little bit off right there. We're now green on the day. Look at this pop. All right, we're still pushing up. Right at the highs. Maybe I'll saw it. We're back to green on the day now. Add some size back here. See if we can pack this risk over. Question is, how long does it consolidate under 100 before it makes a test for it? Very close. We're like 15 cents away, or $15 away. I'm gonna have to cut it now. Too big of a pullback here. I think, and again, I think realistically, I think buying this dip maybe might work, but I don't want to put too big of losses. So wait. If we get another rip for silver, what happens here? Yeah, I think we're gonna get it eventually. The question is just when. Again, we might buy back. I'll let you guys know if we do. We're kind of stagnant sideways. Many eyeballs. I don't know. I think eyeballs can help bring the momentum higher, but it's never guaranteed. And so we'll give it a second. But the real way to do it would be to buy at the bottom of the range. That 99.50 is holding here. Nasdaq's still pretty stagnant though, and Nvidia's starting to break down, so maybe this is all good. I can't really criticize the people taking profit at all-time highs because I'm usually somebody that takes profit at all-time highs. I'd rather take profit at all-time highs than see if we break it and continue higher. And that's honestly what I'm trying to do here, is just ride it up to $100. I think $100 an ounce is a big news story. It tends to attract the symbols, if that makes sense. Again, the big news that we've had today, Jensen Huang potentially unlocking approval to sell H200 chips to overseas companies in China. ByteDance, we saw Alibaba, we saw another one. And so ByteDance one, Alibaba another. Yeah, I ended up jumping back in with one here, and we're green, but I don't want to get to this. We'll hold this and we'll let it work, but yeah, future price is generally a little bit higher than spot price, though. I think when we get so close to it. How's the weather where you guys live? What the tip is today. Really not that cold here in Texas right now in Houston. Like, I'll cut this. We're still green on the day. We're gonna fight this trade. Negative 20. Bad weather. It's honestly 65 here, Texas. Weather's really not supposed to get bad until tomorrow. Alright, silver now under 99.5s. This is the time I should be buying this dip here. Right. Trying to buy this support right here. Boston's about to get dumped on. Honestly, the South is as well. South ain't looking much better, to be honest. There we go. Look at that. We're going to cut half of that. Got a nice little bounce. I'll hold the rest. A rebound. There we go. Add a little bit to this too. That. There we go. Then we're consolidating here. PMI data comes out at 9:45 today. 9:45. We're gonna have to maybe cut some of this. I could probably give it a little bit longer, but we'll wait. Add here. Bounce and beat. If not, we're just gonna. It tries to whip you out of it just because it's silver. But I think buyers are interested right now. What if snow and ice is coming? I'll be careful. Yeah, we got craziness coming on our end as well. I'm going to just cut it right there. We'll trade the difference. The pullback is pretty reasonable, though, I think, to maybe attack. Yeah, the pullback's pretty reasonable. I think you got just so much interest in silver down here. Wrapping again. Poland. Meta and Exxon. Yeah, I think Meta hired a new AI chief, but it's still red on the day. Exxon Mobil is up. Probably on just instability news. Silver Scout. Okay. You guys red or green so far this week? Can the market go up forever? Well, it could. It's probably not going to, but it could. I mean, market generally does go up forever. But it pulls back in between. Green, 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 green. Yeah, so market generally can go up forever, but it pulls back in between. Again, today we got flash manufacturing and services data. Green looks like Exxon wants to pull back. John, do you think Bitcoin already priced in a potential rate cut? You mean the odds of a rate cut going down? Intel's already down, but Nvidia had good news as well. Somebody said I'm worried Intel's going to bring down the market. Nvidia had good news. Nvidia H200 chips are potentially getting unlocked to some companies in China, according to insiders, I think. So that news is pretty good. And that, even though Intel is down, Nvidia is still holding. It's gapping up on the day. Nvidia at 186.50s. So we got good news for Nvidia, bad news for Intel. So even if Intel drops, it depends on how much everything else drops too. Bitcoin's still at 89.2s though. Yeah, we'll see what we get today, guys. It's kind of quiet. Feel like Oracle is better news. Yeah, Oracle's down a lot too. They own a piece of the TT deal is what I heard. And they're green on the day, but Oracle's been pulling back the last few days as well, down from 207s to 170s. Every time 30-year bonds hit 88, goes down next day. I'm betting that the Nvidia news is fake. Maybe. Possible. U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick on X says President's America First trade agenda is focused on driving down imports and surging exports. In just 1 year, we've delivered on both. Foreign contracts supported by the U.S. Department of Commerce alone surged to $244 billion last year. He said we're just getting started. PLTR down. Yeah, people talking about Exxon. Exxon's up today. It's been on a run since, well, they're longer, really. Let's see. Yeah, it's been on a run since the 5th or 7th. Yeah, I see the PLTR news. Yeah, no 8:30 data today. We have flash manufacturing and services data later on, though. And silver, gold breaking all-time highs. We did a poll. 41% think today gold does break 5,000 an ounce. Hopefully the weather doesn't take out the UFC event. Maybe, honestly, I kind of hope it does. I can watch it. Move it to Sunday, I'd watch it. Palantir, I mean, is not really down that much. Palantir is actually green on the day. It's at 166.30s. So I mean, again, microchips today have two different stories. They have Intel beating EPS and revenue and earnings, but missing guidance and disappointing guidance numbers. And so Intel is down. If you look at Intel in the middle bottom chart, this is Intel right here. So Intel is down in the day. It closed at 54.30s yesterday. It's at 47s right now. Intel is down. The other side of this news is the potential unlocking of the H200 chips to China. Nvidia now 186.50s. So potential unlocking to H200 Nvidia chips to China is what's driving markets again today. And again, we got flash manufacturing services PMI today. So we'll see what that looks like. Kroger, Zoe grocery sales. I mean, I think maybe the earnings are already done with those. I think everybody's just going to stay home now. I don't know if it's going to really benefit the stock short. I mean, maybe it does. It's possible. We see a correlation there. Yeah, again, flash services and manufacturing, not the biggest report. Market news is kind of quiet. All right, so we're down to 99.230s. Michael Burry betting against Oracle. I think Michael Burry's betting against everything right now in tech, isn't he? I don't know. I haven't seen Burry lately here. I haven't been paying much attention to him after he was, you know. Where is he? Cassandra Unchanged. Did he change his name? Cassandra Unchanged. No, he didn't. It's still there. Let's see what he says. A few days ago, he said this. He said, "Thank you for all the interest in what I'm doing here. I'm actively working on some posts. Some of you are expecting GameStop Part 2, The Heretic's Guide, the Lulu and Palantir pieces. After these are done, or maybe before, I imagine the content and stocks covered will become more unexpected in nature." So he's working on some Lulu pieces. Talking about Greenland, saying one of the reasons is offensive capabilities. I don't see any big news for Palantir this morning. Do you guys? Maybe I'm off with it, but I don't see any big breaking news for Palantir this morning. Phillips security analyst Paul Chu began coverage on Palantir with a buy rating and a $208 price target yesterday. Palantir is definitely not at all-time highs. At 166. What's the Intel PE ratio right now? Going 900? No. Trailing PE 900x on Yahoo Finance, 4,500 on public investing. That can't be right, dude. Hold on. I can check this for Intel right now. Hold on. Let me check this myself. John the investigator is on it, man. Those can't be right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they've had negative earnings in 4 of the last quarters, so they're not going to have a PE ratio right now just because 4 quarters had a negative print. Okay, I guess you could still calculate it. But all right, let's take a look. Let's figure it out. All right, what the PE ratio for Intel is currently. So the way you calculate trailing 12-month PE here is you add up the last 4 quarters. 15 cents is one, 23 cents is another, 13 cents is another, but since we had a 10-cent loss per quarter, we're just going to add 0.03 and give a yearly EPS ratio of 41 cents a share. Intel currently has a price of $47.35. So you would do $115 PE ratio for Intel is what I see right now. I see the trailing 12-month PE ratio at 115.50 or so. So while it's not the crazy 800 to 1200 ratio some people are showing here, it's still not freaking good. You know, still not good. Still over 100 PE ratio for Intel right now, so high PE is there for it. But yeah, it's not like the worst I've ever seen. You know, AMD had a PE ratio of hundreds for a while. It's kind of caught up to it now, and if you take a look at AMD's doing better than ever at 260 right now. So it's not the worst it could be, but it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's good for Intel earnings. Canadian retail sales showed up negative 0.5% prelim numbers. Manufacturing sales showed up at 0.5% as well. Trying to give you guys breaking news, but it's kind of quiet today, man. Again, Intel, Nvidia news kind of headlining. As the silver move up there, we're trying to watch silver right now. Put the NQ up here. 558. All right, guys. AMD market cap still under $1 trillion. Friday sucks for data. We got some data today. We got Michigan data at 10. We got manufacturing PMI 945 and services PMI 945. Flash services is what's called. I think it's by Market Economics. Let me remember who does this. And again, it's usually a little bit less influential. S&P Global does it. Sorry. Yeah. Again, Amazon is going to reportedly announce second wave of job cuts. They slashed 14,000 positions in October. The report says the latest cuts are a part of a plan to eliminate 30,000 corporate workers. Automation, manufacturing, and AI are picking up, I'm sure. Making that a little bit more justifiable here. Look at the NASDAQ turn. Look at silver turn all the way back down here, guys. The silver got really close to $100 an ounce and then fell pretty significantly here. Here's the 200 exponential right here, so I'm curious to see if it bounced there. or not. Less than an hour before the opening bell, though, guys. I'm gonna throw this thing in sub-only mode. I think most of you guys are subbed anyway. Looking at our poll, we asked people, when does gold break 5,000? 42% think today. And I think y'all might be right. I don't know for sure. Always bounces at the 200. No, PMI drops in an hour and 5 minutes. Then we have Michigan, what's called Michigan consumer sentiment data at 10 a.m. The Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. Again, here's the NASDAQ. Sitting under 25.6s. I'm looking at that 25.600 level. I want to see what microchips do Nvidia. Those Amazon job cuts is the news. They're planning to lay off 30,000 corporate workers is their recent plan. I'll put it in sub-only mode now, guys. So y'all hit that subscribe button. Next week's the Fed meeting week, big earnings and more. So we got a lot of stuff coming out next week. Again, the U.S. Treasury budget deficit is up 67% year over year in December to 145 billion. But the first 3 months of this year, fiscal year 26, the deficit fell 15% year over year. It's now at 602 billion, the lowest potential start to a fiscal year since 2023. Government revenue rose 13% to 1.23 trillion. Tariff revenue helped this. It's up 333% to 90 billion this year. At the same time, government expenditures is up 2%, record 1.83 trillion. Health and human services, social security, and debt interest total 1.27 trillion. Looking at one of these posts, social media here, kind of see. We did bounce at the 200 exponential right now. At 200 EMA, literally right there. Canada retail sales. Affirm Holdings has applied for a limited bank charter, according to Bloomberg. Again, I'm looking at news, guys. It's quiet. Today it's quiet. I'm trying to hang out with you guys. Again, looking at charts. We do have Michigan's consumer sentiment and inflation expectations at 10. I think that's probably, I don't know how big of an influence Michigan data is going to have, but I think it'll have more of an influence than manufacturing PMI data. But I think it'll be a bigger influence than that stuff, but we'll see. I mean, silver's the day, like the story of the day here. Silver at 99.16 right now. Silver gold, pretty big move. Yeah, will we get silver and gold breaking those big whole dollar numbers? Gold breaking 5,000 and silver breaking 100 today. I'm still watching for that. That's probably what I'm going to try to trade to. Yeah, the Supreme Court decision on tariffs probably isn't coming until the very least February 20th is the next day for the potential Supreme Court decision on the tariffs. At this point in time, odds makers are up a little bit for them keeping the tariffs. They're up to about 35%. It's still the minority. It's not the majority probability at this point. But again, it's looking like at least February 20th before we get a next opinion day to potentially get the tariff decision. And a lot of people are speculating that it could be longer. So I don't know when we're going to get one. Again, I think they need to change the procedure here in something big in market moving like this. Like, they should be changing the procedure and tell us what's going to be on the docket. You know, what's going to be in the batch ahead of the time. We shouldn't just sit around waiting to see if it's that day. Maybe they just want the views, but again, they should at the very least tell us which cases are going to be in the batch, and they don't. Yeah, it depends on what comes out for Michigan data. Like, again, last year we saw markets move a little bit on the Michigan data. Yesterday we saw PC inflation data come out flat, and markets didn't really move much on that. So it really depends on what the data shows up as. If the data is completely flat or the same as last time, then we might not get big market moves. If the data is wildly outside of expectations, especially if it's raised inflation expectations or worse consumer sentiment, those are the type of situations where we might see market move. But if data is flat, market moves flat a lot of the time, depending on what it is. Depends on what the market expects ahead of the time as well, though. If the market expects something wildly different than flat, like high inflation or whatever, that can move stuff too. Supreme Court always puts the cases they know people are going to be big mad. Yeah, I mean, I've stuck around and covered it. But again, the next potential opinion day, I believe, is February 20th. I thought it might be Wednesday this past week, but then they didn't do it Wednesday, and so it's looking like it's pushed back to maybe February or late February. Yeah, so the next possible opinion day is the next day the court announces it may release opinions. Well, obviously that. Yeah, I mean, I'm in Texas. The weather doesn't really get bad until tomorrow. February 20th is the key date, it looks like. The next likely window being flagged for a tariff ruling is Friday, February 20th, when the court is next scheduled to be back on the bench and could resume issuing argued case opinions. So yeah, the earliest next opinion day is scheduled to be Friday, February 20th. There's a break in between, so we're not going to get it until at least... Yeah, will we get the tariff decision or GTA 6 next? Personally, I hope GTA 6. But that's probably not happening either. Power cut in January, almost certainly no. Yeah, almost certainly no. We're not hiking rates. Nobody said we'd hike rates. I'm the top 3 least hiking rates predictor in the world right now. Alright, so the European Union US 10-year plan includes path towards EU membership in Politico. According to Politico, and they're considering 800 billion post-war fund. Yeah, y'all be safe this weekend. We got craziness this weekend, guys. We really do. It's I don't know. Right now, it used to be Hassett for Powell's potential replacement. It's not looking like we're gonna have Hassett. Look at silver pop all the way back up to 99.5s here. It's not looking like it's gonna be Hassett anymore. I think Warsh is the biggest likelihood, but I think Ryder is now in the top 20% as well. So it's looking like maybe Ryder, Warsh is what it's looking like for the next Fed chairman. He's trying to find somebody that he knows. Again, I talked about this yesterday, but the current president is the one who appointed Jerome Powell, right? And now they're beefing like they're mortal enemies. And so when he's appointing a new chairman, he's going to try to do one. He's going to try to not make the same thing happen where he's looking for somebody that'll keep his status quo, if so to speak. Like he doesn't want somebody that's going to stray. And that's why they're being ultimately really selective with what they pick, because they want somebody that's going to do what they say they need. Even if they don't tell you that. That's what it is. All right, guys, silver getting higher here, very close to all-time highs again. New all-time highs right around 75 here. Let's see if we get 100s. Again, we are going to be day trading live today. Let's see what we get. Silver still pushing up, getting close to all-time highs again. Nvidia at 187s. Again, the news is very light. It's Friday, guys. It's Friday. All right, so Oracle way down. Just general pullbacks, I would say. Fears, tariff worries, all that stuff. Not tariffs, restrictions and microchips. I should say more than tariffs. When's the next time Supreme Court gives news about tariff ruling? So the next potential date that we might get it is February 20th. So basically a month from now. So we're not going to get an opinion day until at least at the earliest February 20th. And even then, it's not guaranteed that we're actually going to get the tariff announcement. So that's basically where we are right now. No guarantee that we're even going to get something. Yeah, silver getting very close to $100. $100 on silver's right here. Very close. Bitcoin now cooked. Bitcoin consolidating. It's back up a little bit after dipping down under 89,000. But I mean, Bitcoin's gone back and forth from 80s to 90s since what, October now? When was the last time Bitcoin was out of this range? Bitcoin has basically been sideways. November. Honestly got a little bit higher highs though. Higher lows, I mean. So like here's higher lows that we see in Bitcoin. We got some optimism to be maybe potentially had as long as we can hold that. But look at silver right now. Silver is pushing up again. $100 an ounce for silver is right here. We're getting very close to that now for silver. Again, $100 an ounce is right here. Getting very, very close to that. Let's see if we hold that level now. ExxonMobil flying up today. Oil, if we take a look at it as well. Oil's over $60 a barrel as we speak. So oil up to almost $61 a barrel, which is better for sure for oil. It's not the most profitable thing under 60 a barrel. So if it's too high, people don't like it because of demand falling because of high prices. If it's too low, the margins get hurt. So we're somewhere in the middle there. I think we got the Fed meeting next week, which should be crazy big. Not the dot plot, but we'll get an update on Jerome Powell's tone here. Yeah, Bo Nix getting hurt is going to hurt him for sure, David. Not going to be playing for the rest of the year, so. And we got about 35 minutes until the opening bell. Fed meeting a week ago. All right, silver getting back to all-time highs here. Silver's right here. All-time highs, 99.75s again. Oil's pushing up. Nvidia's kind of quiet, but silver is at all-time highs again. Gold is very close to it as well. If we take a look, gold is almost to $5,000 an ounce. It's at $49.42 an ounce right now. We're trying here. We're trying. What's natural gas doing? Again, natural gas has been flying. And this is, you have some of the... some of these sayings is that if you can predict the weather, you can make money in futures. Specifically, one of those niches that you can make money in is natural gas, right? Because if you can predict really, really cold weather coming in, colder than expected weather, you can basically bet that natural gas might go higher. Why is this? Well, it's more demand. You need to use your heaters more the colder it is, right? And so the more natural gas you ultimately use, and more demand for natural gas there is. So natural gas, again, with this big cold front coming in, look at natural gas. Natural gas has gone up from $3 basically on the 15th to $5.27 right now, just in the last week, a little bit over a week. And so, yeah, I mean, regardless how self-evident you think it is, Pew, that's what happened. What happened? Feel like we just had a Fed meeting a week ago. We didn't. Fed meeting was in early January. No, it's been over a month, 6 weeks almost. $100 in the next 2 minutes. I don't know. I'm watching this 99.50 level for silver. I want to see if that holds. That's kind of my pullback zone. Ooh. January has flown by. Honestly, I'm ready for winter to be over, though. Every time, we get towards the holidays, and I'm like, hey, let's, it's Christmas and the holidays, yeah, And then after Christmas, I'm like, all right, I'm tired of this. I need some sunlight. I need some vitamin D in my life. I'm tired of cold, gloomy weather that's boring and, Plus, again, we've just had people here at my home nonstop. And so, I'm just ready for springtime. Happen now. All right, so we did bounce on silver at 99.5. So we're watching this move up a little bit here. If the bounce continues. Again, news is light. Haven't really had anything really important. All right, so apparently the current administration is reportedly removing a U.S. official whose unit had banned Chinese vehicles, according to sources. We'll see what some of these maybe Chinese EV brands look like. Nvidia is gapping up some. Hey, what's up, Tiny? Anyone looking to buy physical silver, be very careful if you try and buy big bars. Scammers are rampant, using real bars and hollowing them out and loading them with lead. Yeah. By February, I'm completely done with winter gloom. Yeah, I mean, again, very luckily, I'm not like, I don't generally get depressed, right? Like, I'm pretty happy, optimistic, and confident in my abilities to, you know, get out of any, you know, negative thing. But during the winter time, I'm not gonna say I'm depressed. I would say it's definitely a little bit sadder some days because there's just no vitamin D out there. You're not getting sunlight. Like, sunlight's incredibly important. You need sunlight, you know. And so what I'll do is during the winter, if I see the sun out, I'm gonna go try to sit in it for 10 minutes at least every day. If the sun is out, I'm gonna go try to sit in it, kind of sulk in the sun for a little while, and I generally feel better afterwards. But vitamin D is important. You just don't get it as much during the winter. Depending on where you are, I'm in South Texas, so I mean, I'm sure even here is probably a better situation than a lot of I've spent some winters in Canada, you know, different thing. But I would also argue, like, during the winters there's snow and more stuff to do outside. You know, there's more activities you can go do outside, and so you get a lot of sunlight anyway, or you get more sunlight maybe than Texas. You just stay out of it. All right, guys. Yeah, Michigan's rough. If I could just stay in Michigan during the summers, I might move there. Genuinely, I like Michigan a lot. The winters are kind of the deal breaker, though. I'm not trying to stay there during the winters. I don't have any announcements for outages here. Not really. Again, effective federal funds rate the same at 3.64% for yesterday, or the day before yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. All right, guys. I've always wanted to go to England because my last name's London. But all right, so we're still dipping down here. Silver continues to test these all-time highs up here. So silver, again, up here at 99.75s. Continuing to test these all-time highs. I'm looking at 99.5 here. We're not really breaking, though, like a lot of people want. We did bounce right around the 200 exponential for silver, so you can kind of see how useful that is. But hasn't quite gotten up to $100 an ounce like a lot of people wanted to. Gold is still stagnant on the day as well. Yeah, Middle East risk over the weekend is making oil pop. So there's a lot of rumors about stuff going on in the Middle East this weekend, and because of that, because of, like, the way it works with oil is that when there's more uncertainty overseas in the Middle East, there's supply worries, like lack of supply potential is basically the dynamic of it. And so instability overseas might make oil pop, and oil companies go up in that context. If if stability announcements occur overseas in the Middle East and elsewhere, then generally we see lower prices of oil. Because of the worries potentially about the Middle East this week, oil is up to $61 a barrel. Exxon and other companies are higher today on this pop, and that's basically what it is. I'd love to go to Scotland, honestly. Scotland looks cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm from South Louisiana. I can't really make fun of anybody's accent, you know. I watched this video of me playing with a dog that I had. Like, his name was Rue. And my accent was so much worse 10 years ago. Honestly, I think this stream helps my accent a little bit. I think it helps. Gotta help. Look, I love the South, and I'm from South Louisiana, but I don't necessarily think a Southern accent and intelligence are... I don't think people hear a Southern accent and immediately think, hey, that's smart. And I'm not even saying that's true. I think it's a stereotype, but... Alright, so China and Russia are holding negotiations on Asia-Pacific issues, apparently. Nvidia news over the weekend, again, if you're just now joining us, is that Nvidia H200 chips are potentially getting unlocked for some companies overseas after Jensen Huang. $10,000 gold an ounce by the end of June? I hope not, man. Again, I'm in gold a little bit, but like, I think that's too high, too short. Generally speaking, I think sometimes big moves like that quickly can cause crashes. And so, I hope not, honestly. $10,000 an ounce is too much. You guys want gold to break 10K an ounce this year? Yeah, I mean, maybe. All right, guys, we're at 99.75s, 99.76. Silver just broke highs again. Silver just tapped over highs. Very slight for silver futures at 70. Like about 70. 85s. 99.84s. 99.84s is the new all-time high for silver futures. We'll see if it holds these levels, though. Gold's also pushing up a little bit heading into the opening bell. We'll see. Yeah, I'm watching silver still. Again, Intel gapping down, Nvidia gapping up today. You guys ready? So again, it's Friday, guys, so just be careful. Yeah, that's why I said I don't really want gold to hit $10,000 an ounce. It would mean somebody saying it means a full collapse of fiat currency. If it happens that fast, paper gold would be worthless. Yeah, it's kind of like bonds, right? I always kind of explain. You got some people that with bonds, and I've said this a bunch, but I think it's kind of an interesting dynamic. Yeah, people say this, oh, you know, people don't like to invest in bonds sometimes because they distrust the government. They're like, oh, you know, what if the government doesn't pay out? And I always tell them if they don't, you probably got bigger problems than your bonds not paying out, you know? So gold argument is the same way, where if gold hits $10,000 an ounce, you know, things are in trouble, probably. You know, gold's generally been going up this year on the uncertainty that's going on. So if it hits 10K an ounce this year that quickly, with how much it's gone up recently as well in the last few, probably not a good thing. Hey, nice, Tanya. It is Friday though, guys. What do we got today? Yeah, we got manufacturing PMI data. We have S&P Global Manufacturing and Services PMI at 9:45. Again, it's not really a huge release. We got Michigan data at 10 that might move things that I'm watching as well. Intel's going down the drain pre-market. Intel is down because of bad guidance numbers, which is really a theme that we've seen from earnings. Again, I've said this before. Next week we got a lot of big earnings. Got a lot of big earnings next week. We had the Bank of Japan on path to hike rates again this year, but they paused rates last night. And again, Intel down on bad guidance numbers. And I think this is a theme that we're seeing. Same thing with Netflix. Netflix BDPS revenue lowered guidance and CapEx. Right? And that made Netflix go down. And we're seeing similar things with Intel. Intel BDPS and revenue and then lowered guidance and CapEx. And they're down. And so that's a similar theme we're seeing with most tech earnings that we've gotten so far. And next week, again, Microsoft, Meta, Tesla earnings. And I'm worried about those earnings because I think we need a beat and raise scenario for them. Like, we need a beat and raise scenario. If we don't have that, we might get brash negative reactions in stocks, and tech stocks specifically is what it is. And so I think we're in a situation where markets are incredibly strict in regards to what the companies in big tech and Mag 7 do for their earnings. It used to be your BDPS and revenue and you have neutral guidance. It's okay. Now it's like, if we don't raise guidance, BDPS and revenue and have some killer quarter, then we're getting big pullbacks this quarter, at least so far. So far for this earnings season, that's what we've seen. Will we get a continuation of that next week? I really don't know. I'm really not sure there. But again, next week we got a lot of earnings coming out. And we'll see. We'll see. Bullish or bearish? Put it in chat right now. Are you bullish or bearish for next week's earnings report? Again, are you bullish or bearish? I'm kind of neutral. We'll see. I think it depends on what the company is. Going bull. JP Morgan always wrong. I want to see the ADP report. We had a last ADP report at 8,000. Next week, I think. Do we have the weekly ADP report next week? I think we might. Let me see. Hold on. Next week we should have at least one. If it's the weekly report, we usually don't have or if it's the monthly report, we usually don't have the weekly report. But I do think next week is a weekly report by ADP. This past one was 8,000. So next Monday we got durable goods at 8:30. I don't know how much those are going to move markets. We'll see. Last time they should have been negative 2.2. We get negative 2.2 last time. Tuesday we got the ADP report. Yeah. Wednesday we got the Fed meeting. Big earnings. Thursday next week we have jobless claims, import exports, and then Friday we have PPI inflation data. What is that report? Yeah, so Friday we have PPI for December coming out. Again, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Next Friday. So we'll see what that looks like. Again, silver consistently breaking highs again. I'm watching this $100 level. Yeah, we had 4.4% GDP this past Thursday, yesterday. Very big number, very good number there. Again, yields ended up falling a little bit on that news. Also, the Greenland stuff. Yeah, so the New York governor just declared a state of emergency due to the storm that we got coming. So Looks like Baton Rouge is gonna miss this storm. Yeah, we have PMI data and consumer sentiment today. It's not the biggest one. It's by S&P Global PMI. It's flash PMI and services data. It's not the biggest report though. It really isn't. Like we'll cover it, you know, like we always do. But it's not like a big market moving report. Maybe Michigan data will. Yeah. So seeing what Pawn said here about fake silver and gold right now with all this craziness. Look. People are posting this here. Look at the fake gold. They're putting copper or lead. You know, scammers. We're using that to argue more Bitcoin, saying gold and silver can be faked. Bitcoin can't. But they're not wrong. All right, we're up to 99.82s. Silver still making another pop. No one can take your gold. I mean, yeah, they can. You know. What's easier to steal, gold or Bitcoin, guys? Let me know. All right, silver still pushing closer to highs, very close to $100 an ounce here. 15 minutes here until market's open. All right, guys, so we're back down to 99.7s for silver. Big pullback at highs here again. Get 15 minutes until the market opens. We do have flash manufacturing and services data today, and we have Michigan data at 10. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, neither of those are big release. I'm just going to be honest. What do y'all think about quantum? Is it time to buy quantum stocks right now, guys? Let me know. Is it time to buy quantum stocks? All right, we're dipping down. We're at 99.73s. $14 minutes into the open. Yes, it's time to buy quantum. Gold doesn't have a fixed supply. Oh, it does. But it's different for sure. There's a fixed supply of gold. I mean, there's only a certain amount of gold in the world. Now, it's definitely less finite than crypto, but or specifically Bitcoin, I should say. Bitcoin is more correlated to gold and silver than people. Oh, it's definitely correlated. Bitcoin is basically considered online gold. Yeah, I mean, I understand gold Bitcoin correlation. 9:45 we got PMI data. 10 a.m. we got Michigan data. None of it's big though. It's all kind of boring data releases, to be honest. But we'll cover the opening bell like we do. Philip Morris urges FDA advisory committee to recommend. Yeah. Over pulling back. Let's watch 99.5s again. We're close to it. I'm still watching the NASDAQ here. 5.570s. Gold and silver sell out, new all-time highs. Maybe. I'm trying to see if gold and silver. I think there's a chance gold or silver, tries to break $100 at the opening bell. I think there's a chance that happens. Now we got 12 minutes until the opening bell. We'll see what we get today. But I think there's a chance that we break it, or we try to break it at the opening bell. Again, we'll see. Looking at our poll. Let's do another poll here. We asked, does gold break 5,000? 42% say yes. Let's look at are you bullish or bearish? The opening bell. Are you bullish or bearish for markets at the opening bell? Bull or bear? Go to the poll. That poll is now live. You can also just let me know in the comments if you want, but well, the logic, Tiny, is that there's a finite amount of Bitcoin that can ultimately be mined, and just that is out there in general. And so as time goes on and more of that Bitcoin is mined, the value, because of supply dwindling, is going to increase for Bitcoin over time, is basically the base case argument for Bitcoin. It's one of the reasons they've argued it's gone up over time, and it's one of the reasons they think it might potentially continue to rise until the supply is out, if that makes sense. You know, not hear the music? Music's here. You might not be able to hear it. I can turn it up if you guys want. Can y'all hear the music? Yes or no? You should be able to. Again, Intel gapping down after disappointing guidance numbers, even though it beat EPS and revenue. Nvidia gapping up after potentially companies overseas in China are going to be able to buy H200 chips. And so we're getting kind of a stagnant market right now with NASDAQ here, basically moving sideways for an hour now. Silver is bouncing usually around 99.5s. And silver still bouncing, gold bouncing, NASDAQ sideways. Again, opening bell in 8 minutes, guys, 8 minutes. And Bitcoin's just kind of quiet. 89.3s. It is climbing higher here, though. Nvidia long at the opening bell. Good luck, dude. I hope y'all make money. I really do. You know? I can day trade stocks as well as the open if I want. Oracle's still falling down though, man. Yeah, so again, February 20th is the next potential tariff decision date by the Supreme Court. Yeah, I mean, Reddit has been pulling back, but it's still got a good long-term chart, I would say. Last year it's green, you know, it pulls back a little bit, but is it the problem with Reddit monetization related? Like monetization questions regarding it? Again, so the U.S. is threatening curbing supply of U.S. dollars for Iraq oil sales, according to them. The FOMC meeting's next Wednesday. We also have Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla earnings same day. Sideways here, Bitcoin pushing up. Doing an event regarding crypto next week. Problem people do not realize there's a big pile of cash. Yeah, it's Friday. I like Honeywell for new quantum play. Maybe Honeywell, yeah. But it recovers. So next week, we got the Fed meeting next week. All right, guys, here we go. Less than 5 minutes before the opening bell. Will we get a bullish or bearish open right now? We did a poll already asking people this. 66% are bullish today. 34% are bearish heading into the opening bell. We'll see what we get. I'm just excited because it's been quiet. Although silver and gold have been pushing higher here. Silver is getting back up to almost $100 an ounce and close to all-time highs. Again, 99.87. 99.87's just hit. Still pushing up 90 here. For $10. Yeah, we're 10 cents away from all-time highs in silver. 10 cents away. 99.90 silver right now. Bitcoin pushing up 89.5s right now. Gold's still sitting kind of quiet, but silver trying to get up to 99 or getting up to $100 an ounce here for silver. Opening bells in 4 minutes, guys. 4 minutes. At 89.52s here. Yeah, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate the love. Growth up here, but I'm watching silver getting very close. 93s silver, very close to $100 an ounce. I'm gonna buy this little dip. Rise into the opening bell. That's what it is. Might have to wait until the opening bell. We're just gonna buy one micro contract of silver here. Give it a second. We're so close to $100 an ounce here, and we got some of the liquidity from the opening bell that could pop us higher here. I'd love for it to happen before the open because the open's too to hold it. But we'll try. I'm just trying to scalp it up to 100. Yeah, I would just like to scalp it up to 100. If we don't get it, we'll reset at the open and play the NASDAQ or something. All right, guys, we got less than 2 minutes. Some of this music I like, some of it I like, some of it flat. Let's see if we go up to 100. Yeah, Intel's down because of it missed guidance numbers. NASDAQ's starting to rise too. Look at the NASDAQ climb back up. Still red on the day for the. I am going to sell this before the opening bell. Yeah, I'm just going to cut it. It might push right back up, but the risk is too high for the opening bell here. Is with this. Too much range and volatility for the open with silver. Silver had the big spread, big move. So we'll pivot to the NASDAQ here. Put silver up on this middle chart right here. Again, I probably could have held it, but the risk is too high. Silver right here on this bottom chart now. Again, we got flash manufacturing and services data 10. So NASDAQ up to 25.6 here. I don't really break rule. I'm not really breaking rule. My rule is I can't trade 5 minutes after the opening bell. 5 minutes after the opening bell. So I can't trade that 5 minute period when the market opens. That's the rule. Here's the opening bell right now. If that's delayed on your stream, hit the live button, put it in 2x speed. I appreciate it. Take sub only mode off. Look at the NASDAQ push up a little bit at the open. I was curious to see if silver and gold would make a pop. Well, but no, nothing yet. Alright guys, so we're still sitting tight here. We're trying to figure out what we want to do. NASDAQ is down, silver's down. Looks like it. That's why I got out of that position. I wanted to see if it would take 100, but it didn't. NASDAQ still climbing higher. I'm watching 650s out there. We tapped it once already. Silver breaking down, gold breaking down, Bitcoin falling a little bit since the open too. $650s. AMD. At 264s. Intel's down at the opening bell. That is up pretty significantly. Alphabet's down. Microsoft's up. A very split opening bell here, to be honest. Look at that 650 level we had on our chart. Look how well that we respond to that level. A big dip, we're back down. Let's see if 600 holds us up now after the opening. But we do have flash manufacturing and services data going live. So we'll see what the flash manufacturing and services data shows.
And 9:45. All right, so we're back down to 600s here. We are bouncing at sixes. Silver's starting to rebound back up. It's at 99.5s here if we put silver up. Nasdaq back up to 99.5s, or Nasdaq back up to 25.6s, bouncing a little bit there. Yeah, my Netflix trade is bouncing back too. Netflix back up to 84.30s. Silver rebounding here. Nasdaq's a little quiet though. Gold's pushing back up as well. I might try to buy this dip in the Nasdaq here if we get it. Or no, I mean it's silver if we get it. So we just bought this dip in silver. If we bounce, might add down to this level here, but give it a second. There we go. Half off there. The retracement happens. Go. All right, I'm out. Kind of bought the 200 exponential pullback real quick. I don't know what it's gonna do here. We got 10 minutes before flash manufacturing data, but then we got Michigan consumer sentiment data at 10 a.m. It bounced at the 37 level. Intel is down. Intel has fallen down more. It's at $46 a share now, 46.30s since the opening bell. Natural gas futures up to 540. Kind of quiet open still though, heading into small data today. Yeah, the rate odds for a rate cut this month are down to what, like 2% now? Yeah, 2.8%. So pretty unlikely we're gonna cut interest rates this month. Nasdaq bouncing, silver bouncing up here. Yeah, Nvidia's flying up so far this morning, but it almost 190, came back down. The closer silver gets to the 100, the more optimistic and interested I am in it. How much time do we have left? We have 8 minutes left. I'll try. This is a greedy buy. Got in late. I'll add. Go. Go. Take half off of there. Look at this. The Bitcoin's still fading down a little bit though. Add back on this dip. Get a continuation back up real quick. There we go. Nice. Take half off again up there. Make a pop. There we go. All right, we're out. I'm gonna try to just scalp up to this $100 level. Definitely green since the opening bell. 99.87. Get some strength coming at the opening bell for silver. Oil's going crazy because of geopolitical uncertainty in the Middle East this weekend. I got a cushion on the day. If I want to buy this retracement, I think so. Trace back up there real quick. Add to it. Go. We're green on the day. I mean, let's see if we can get up there though. I'll give it a second. Problem is like the bull momentum is more, there's more edge with the bull momentum, but when we do pull back, it can be much more drastic, and so you just got to be careful. That's why I want to scalp these moves. If we start to cut like this, I'm just going to cover it, get out. I'm just not trying to risk too much here. See how big that pullback is after the rip up, so sell-offs happen quick. Get Bitcoin right here. No, PMI is a pretty small release, guys. It's not really like a major. Here goes silver, making another push. Yeah, I don't think PMI data is really going to have some big influence over markets today. It still looks to be holding some. And Nasdaq's climbing back up to 25.6s here. Consumer sentiment move markets. Maybe it does this time. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I really don't know if it's going to move markets. Again, PMI data drops in about 3.5 minutes. I'm not really getting, I'm getting some slippage every time I try to enter over here, but I do want to see if it makes a pop up to 100 again. I'm gonna start small and then add to it if it goes to my favorite. Go. Get higher here. There. Alright. We're so good. Alright, guys. Manufacturing PMI. I kind of got to cut this in the next few minutes. Let's see if it does it for manufacturing PMI. All right, guys, 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. Green on this trade so far, at least. Might add back, but I gotta be careful. Just manufacturing PMI does drop today, so I don't know how big of an influence it's gonna have, especially when something silver, but it's something. Pop back higher. Kind of flat here. Let's see if we can make a move higher. Liquidate. There we go. There. All right. Just run. Add a little bit to it here. Take some off immediately just because we can. So close. Let's see if it pops higher here. How much time we got? We got less than a minute. I'm gonna cut it break even on the rest. So very green trade so far. I'm going to let manufacturing PMI come out first and then see what we want to do with silver today. All right, guys, manufacturing PMI. Expected at 51.9. Manufacturing PMI. Services expected at 52.9. What do we get? 20 seconds. And here's the report again. Hit the live button next to the play button to it. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. And here's the report right now. Okay, so both of them came in, or manufacturing came in flat at 51.9. Services came in weak at 52.5. Services weaker than expected. 52.9 expected. They showed up at 52.5. Manufacturing showed up as expected at 51.9. Global composite showed up at 52.8. Last time was 52.7. The relatively flat numbers here for manufacturing PMI numbers and global PMI numbers, but mostly flat data here, to be honest. So again, they came in mostly flat. Services was a little bit weaker than expected. I am going to change the attention to Michigan data. Okay, so we do have consumer sentiment data coming out at 10 o'clock. I want to buy silver again with one small contract and see what happens. On like a retracement here, I think so. Go. If it tests this 100, it's so close to $100 here. There we go. I just want to see if it wakes up and moves. Come on. There we go. Definitely taking more risk here now, but kind of flat the last two trades. I got to start to look at it. I want to see it break highs, but it's just struggling to. I think it will maybe sometime today, but it is Friday, so. Again, we got Michigan data at 10 o'clock today, guys. 10 o'clock. And just word here. I don't think I just have one micro here, so. I'm looking at a $100 psychological level. Try. Yeah, as soon as we start to break down, I cover it. I don't want to get stuck in the squeezes down. What happens on the rest? I just put up a Bitcoin. nasdaq. Still want to see if silver tests it. I don't know if it... Michigan data, what, 12 minutes? I don't know if Michigan data is going to really have some type of big influence on markets either. I was thinking about trading Nvidia again. I've traded Nvidia a good bit. These stocks that look good for a trade. I'm trying to find some, but buy Nvidia here. If it makes a move. Yeah, all good. Again, I'm kind of adding to Nvidia here. I want to see if this holds. But silver, so you guys still watch it. Hey, silver just disappointed me today. So there we go. We're up a little bit on Nvidia. I'm going to add a little bit more to this. Take 150 shares. Okay, we got the Michigan data in 10 minutes exactly, guys. 10 minutes. Now red on this. I might add a little bit more and then sit tight. See if we pop. Go. A little bit off here. Lock in the profit. Yes. A little bit more here. We wanted. Good. Look at that pop on Nvidia. Huh. Tell me. Get out of it. That's it. Alright, we'll hold this last little 100 shares. Got the rest right here. I wanted to attack the range. We made a good bid on Nvidia there as well. It's not Michigan data, it's the University of Michigan report. So the University of Michigan compiles this report. It's not purely Michigan data, it's done by the University of Michigan. We just call it Michigan data to get... No, I was just, yeah. If I didn't mean to sound negative. If I did, again, Google pushing up. So we got to do a lot of stuff to prepare for the ice storm. Look at Intel, guys. Intel is dumping down here. Intel chaos. Silver's still pretty close to this $100 level here. I still think it might test it at the open, but I had to put up futures for the day. I actually ended green in futures in the account that we've been trading today in silver, but I'm going to sit out while I'm ahead. I'm up about 300 if you see this. $306 a day, so wasn't easy, but we got back green. And Michigan data coming out in 6 minutes. Michigan data today is expected specifically at, let's find it. What do we got? Michigan data. 1 year inflation expectations expected at 4.2, 5 year expected at 3.4. So they're expected to bump up 5 year inflation expectations. Consumer sentiment expected at 54. Previously, it showed up at 52.9. So 5 minutes and then we're going to cut out. But we'll see what happens. Guys, we'll see what happens. Yeah, again, the big news for next week, we have the Fed meeting, obviously. And again, I've said this many times today, but I think this is the story, to be honest, going into next week, which I think is specifically that tech earnings that have come out so far for this earnings season have BDPS and revenue, but missed guidance. So traders are going to be incredibly strict next week in regards to guidance numbers that show up with big earnings. And again, Wednesday, we have the Fed meeting, and then we have Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla earnings. All same day, all same time at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when they release. So because of that, I think traders are going to be incredibly strict with guidance numbers next week. And I think if they need a beat and raise scenario, meaning they beat EPS, beat revenue, and raise guidance. And I think that's what they need next week. I think if we don't get that and we get lowered guidance again for big names in the Mag 7, traders might panic and we might see red action and it might drive the market down. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying I don't know, but I'm saying it's possible. And so we're going to see if it does. And again, that's all including the Fed decision next week. Which might cause volatility and interest as well. So yeah, I'm curious to see what natural gas does over the weekend. Heating because of the cool weather front that's coming through. Again, silver's still dipping down here, but range is pretty small, and we got 4 minutes left. All right, guys, 3.5 minutes. We did get into a little trade here. I'll show you guys real quick. We're up small so far, but try to cut it break even. Go down. We already took one off. We had 2 micros. Silver currently. Go. All right, we'll cut. We made about $100 on that one too. We're out. I don't think I'm gonna trade again today. Yeah, Intel's down massive percentages. We have 2.5 minutes before Michigan data. I don't know how much Michigan data, again, is going to move markets. I'd rather just be real with you guys. Give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades if you want to help support the channel. We do cover all this stuff live as soon as it happens. So we cover economics, markets, FOMC decisions, data releases, and more. And we've done it before everybody else did, so we actually know what we're talking about with a lot of it when a lot of people are just jumping on trends. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. And let's see what this data shows in 2 minutes here. Go Intel, go. Honestly, I kind of want to buy Intel right now. If the PE ratio wasn't freaking ridiculous, I might. But with that PE ratio, I think I'm just going to stay out of that thing, dude. It just seems too risky. Yeah, sometimes companies catch up to PE. What's AMD's PE right now? Yeah, I mean, I can scalp micro silver futures. I mean, we can pretend like, and I mean, I'm green on the day, but there's a difference between investing longer term in a company or swing trading a company and scalping, you know, a really specific milestone level. You know what I mean? All right, guys, 40 seconds. 40 seconds. I could try to day trade Intel, you know. That's a situation where I might buy the dip. But we'll see. All right, guys, here we go. All right, guys, 5 seconds, 3 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. And the data showed up. Michigan consumer sentiment showed up at 56.4. Stronger than expected at 56.4. Here's the SPY. SPY's having a pop up here. Look at the SPY. Here's the NASDAQ. Here's futures if you want to take a look at futures instead. They are reacting negatively to this report. Look at this drop. Markets right now. So falling down here on this report is silver. The NASDAQ itself is going higher on Michigan consumer sentiment data. Again, Michigan consumer sentiment data showed lower inflation expectations and stronger consumer sentiment for the month of January. Again, lower inflation expectations. 1 year came in at 4% versus 4.2%. 5-year inflation expectation showed up at 3.3 versus 3.4%. Consumer sentiment showed up at 56.4 versus 54 expected. So this is not nothing. This is something. It's moving markets a little bit, and NASDAQ's going up some. So, yeah, again, we had some Michigan consumer sentiment data stronger than expected, and the market did react positively to it. The market did react positively to it. See if it holds, but yeah, markets are up. Again, I'm going to cut out of here, guys, so you guys be safe. Have a great day. And, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Remember, guys, I'm not an investment professional. Y'all have a safe weekend. Everybody be safe this weekend. If you're in one of the really bad zones for it, y'all be safe. Crazy markets right now. NASDAQ's popping higher, though, on the Michigan data and lower inflation expectation data here. So, again, Michigan consumer sentiment stronger than expected. It showed up at 56.4 versus 54 and 52.9 last time. So, stronger than expected, lower inflation expectations, and stronger numbers than expected. And again, good luck, guys. Remember, all this stuff on screen, can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. And y'all be safe this weekend. Have a great weekend. Be safe. I'll see you guys next week. As soon as I close the stream, it's going to bring you to next week's stream anyway. So be there. I'll see you guys.